All right, guys, so check this out. Have you ever heard of Goldbelly? Okay, so it's this amazing site where you can order the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the country, and they will ship it straight to your door. That's right, these guys will ship you Philly cheesesteaks from Jim's or Pat's in Philly, buffalo wings from the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, and even Kansas City's most legendary barbecue. So, if you're looking to host an epic Super Bowl party, go to goldbelly.com and get free shipping and 20% off your first order with promo code GAMEDAY.
Welcome to the Midweek Show, the Fantasy Lens, where we take a deep dive into everything and anything fantasy hockey specific. This is episode 140. Brought to you by ANC Photo Boots for all your photo boots needs. Follow them at ANC Photo Boots on Instagram. Best service and best price in the business. And on top of that, if you tell them Partial Breakaway sent you, you get an even better price. So ANC Photo Boots, give them a shout, everybody. This week, we're doing a redraft of a draft that took place just 1 year ago. Nick, why don't you tell the listeners what this episode is all about?
Perfect, Junior. Well, this episode is about Corey Pronman's article on The Athletic, where he's evaluating the top players from the 2025 draft class at the mid-season mark. So it is a little bit early to be doing a redraft for this class. Like, let's call a spade here. We don't know how this is going to turn out for these players long-term career-wise. We're just talking about a very quick reaction. And why is it relevant for fantasy? Well, this is relevant because if you did draft some of these players in your dynasty leagues, or if you drafted some of these players in your redraft leagues because guys like Celebrini are in fact killing it in this season. We're trying to show you who's been performing, who hasn't, and how this redraft kind of would have looked like to this point. Pronman is using a lot of, World Junior Championship results. It's only been 6 months since the draft took place in Los Angeles, so he's updating his list for the under 23 big boards, and he saw some movement in this year's draft class. So, without further ado, let's talk about the top three guys right off the bat. So, last year, the top three was Matthew Schaefer, who went to the Islanders, Michael Misa, who went to San Jose, and Anton Frandel, who went to Chicago. How Pronman views it moving forward, the top three. Well, the top three, he says undisputed. It really is Matthew Schaefer, guys. He is fighting for that Calder trophy as the best rookie defenseman in the NHL, or rookie period in the NHL. Fighting with guys like Demidov and all these guys. But Schaefer has stayed number one on his list. Number two, he says Michael Misa stays number two as well. But he moved up James Higgins 4 spots to number three. So, how are you guys feeling about this? Schaefer to me was a surprise pick at number one simply because he hadn't played enough games before the draft in 2025. So we didn't really know where his development was at. He's proven us, I think, that he really does belong there. Michael Misa, some injuries this year unfortunately derailed him, but Pronman still has him as number two. And James Higgins, who the World Junior team didn't go very well, but his actual playing time right now is looking very good in the juniors. What do you guys think?
I think Prodman is controversial at best when he does these things, including his really early 2026 draft rankings. But I think James Higgins moved up in the standings because the guys that got drafted ahead of him aren't doing too well. I mean, Caleb Is it Desnoyers? Desnoyers, right? I got it right this time. And Brady Martin. I mean, players that were drafted ahead of him aren't doing very well. I mean, Higgins is not tearing it apart in the NCAA. I think he's got 21 points in 23 games. If in 20 games, he's got 23 points, 11 goals, 12 assists. He had an okay juniors, 7 points in 5 games, World Juniors. So we have to remember he was projected to be that number one pick, like not not too far before the draft, and dropped all the way to number 7. So I mean, I understand you can put him at number 3 because he had the potential to be that number one, and the guys that got drafted in front of him aren't doing too well right now in whatever league they're playing in.
I think what's impressive with James Higgins is the he's maintaining a point per game with Boston College, except he doesn't have Gabe Perreault or Ryan Leonard anymore. He's doing that with guys like Dean Letourneau or William Moore, Terry Stiga. So like they're not quite the same level as Perreault and Leonard were. And for a second, you thought that those two guys were the reason James Hagan was touted as highly as he was. So I'll give him credit for that, even though I really didn't like his World Juniors, to tell you the truth. But I think this whole draft class kind of is still finding itself, still shaping itself, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's the grain of salt that we were talking about before, right? These guys are so young. It's only six
Hmm.
months removed from the draft. This could change a lot between now and the next 6 months. Um, but just for the purposes of um, saying who is moving up and who's moving down currently, um, number 4, 5, 6.
Nick,
So
sorry,
yeah,
I just want to interrupt you quickly. Who would you guys rather have, James Higgins in a dynasty league or Anton Frandel? Seeing as Pronman, those are the two he switched, right? Who would you guys rather have?
well, look, I don't have the time really to watch every single junior game like maybe Pronman does because that's his job, right? Um, but what I saw from the World Junior Championships, I saw Frendel actually producing in a top six role for that team, and I know I traded for him or I got him in a package for Sebastian Aho, so it might sound like I'm being biased right now, but I in World Juniors, hands down, Frendel was the better player than Higgins. So I feel like Frendel should still be up there, personally.
Yeah, Frondel's playing with adults. He's playing in the Swedish league. He's not playing with kids, and he's still putting up 19 points in 30 games. You might not think that's a lot, but this is an 18-year-old kid who's putting up those kinds of numbers against men that have higher level skill than anybody that's playing the NCAA right now, and he's not getting the high minutes because he's such a young player. So I don't know. It would be so interesting to see why Prodman has him jumping so low. Because he has Frandel dropping oof, 8 spots. That's a lot for a third overall pick. So I don't know why. Like I said, maybe it's because he's more into the minor. He watches more the minor leagues than the actual like the Swedish league. But I don't know. To me, when 18-year-olds play with man, it's a complete different game, and it's so much. To me, it should be so much better for their experience and their. Oh man, what's the word I'm looking for?
Development?
Yes, their development.
Okay, let's talk about 4, 5, 6 here. So 4, 5, 6, we have in actual NHL. It was Caleb Desnoyers to Utah, Brady Martin to Nashville at 5, and Porter Martone to Philadelphia at 6. Pronman has changed that up a little bit here. He actually has Roger McQueen moved up 6 spots to number 4. Porter Martone moves up 1 spot to 5. And Kayshawn Aitchison moves up 11 spots to number 6.
Wow.
Um, I think McQueen, the story with McQueen at the draft, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the storylines because I remember doing the draft. for what was it, 4 hours long. Me and listener Bats, who co-starred that episode, live on YouTube, by the way. Like and subscribe. Um, Roger McQueen, I think it was a lot of his injuries that stopped him from actually being picked higher in the actual draft. Porter Martone, we kind of felt like he was going to be a flyer. I don't know. I was hoping that he was going to be a Chicago Blackhawk so he could play with Bedard, but uh, Martone is doing pretty well. And Keyshawn Aitchison went as part of the deal for Dobson. The New York Islanders had gotten 2 first-round picks, and with one of them, they picked up Keyshawn Aitchison. The guy, offensively, had scored a lot of goals during his draft year, and people were saying that it's not sustainable. This year, he's scoring even more than he was scoring last year. So I think that's why maybe he's moved up so highly, because the offense is there and the defense is there. Um, let's start with Vince here. What are we thinking about McQueen, Martone, and Aitchison moving up in these spots?
Well, McQueen's playing with Providence College, 21 points in 24 games, which is fantastic, especially for a guy who's 6'5", 197. The biggest thing with McQueen, from what I remember when we were doing the previews last year, was that McQueen had a back issue, and teams were scared of that back issue because of what happened with Caden Lindstrom and the Columbus Blue Jackets the year before. And that's why some teams were just skipping on him and going for other players, because without those injuries, he should have been in that top five for sure. So I think now, with the season in the NCAA going on and him being healthy and showcasing his skills, I think that's one of the big reasons Parman has him so high. As for Martone, I mean, Martone stayed approximately where he was drafted. I mean, one spot higher than he was drafted. But I mean, he stayed there. And Aitchison, I mean, he had an okay uh, World Juniors, but he's been ripping it apart in the WHL, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has 44 points. Let me see, I had him. Yeah, here. He has 44 points in 36 games, 22 goals, 22 assists, and he's a defenseman. So I think I think that's why he jumped up in the standings.
Yeah, yeah. Junior?
Yeah, like you'll see like Porter Martone, guys like Porter Martone, Roger McQueen, Gavin McKenna, they all left the CHL to join the college hockey, the NCAA. And that's a massive adjustment because you're playing against bigger and more mature players than you were in the CHL, which is either the OHL, the Western Hockey League, the Q, or whatever. So for them to be pacing for a point per game or close to it, that's pretty impressive. And I'm saying that because Roger McQueen, like Vince said, is at 21 points in 24 games. That's pretty impressive. Porter Martone, also who was with Brampton Steelheads in the OHL, transferred to the NCAA, and he's 28 points in 22 games. And I really liked his game in the juniors as well. He has some maturing to do, that's for sure. But when the stakes were high, you saw he had a bit more oomph in him. But I want to touch on Brady Martin. I think Brady Martin, I know he dropped on a lot of people's lists, but from an NHL standpoint and in leagues that have peripherals, I think this guy could be a real gem. I really do. He looked really impressive in big games, so that's good. That means he's going to keep up in the NHL. And he's at 16 points in 13 games in the OHL, which is not the best, but you're looking for peripherals when it comes to him. And as for Desnoyers, took a bit of a step back this year, not pacing for as much as he did last year. He's at a 1.5 points per game last year. This year's 1.35. So a slight regression, but he's more of that going to be that all-around player. So it all depends on your perception and your what you expect of the player too, right? If we're talking fantasy, yeah, I'm gonna want the Martones and the McQueens before Desnoyers. But from an NHL perspective, there's probably a different reason why he went higher.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll just touch on a couple of comments that Pronman actually had in his article here. He spoke about James Higgins being the most debated player in the draft class and potential number one pick, like Vince said. dropping to seventh in that draft. And he's been quite good this season, competing much harder than he was in his draft year. Um, Keishon Aichison has been arguably the best defenseman in the OHL. Physical element, but also an offensive touch that's better than expected in his draft year. So I think that's where Aitchison really moves up there. So yeah, it's and the next guy is going to be quite interesting. The next couple of guys are going to be quite interesting. So I just want to move on to the next three, and then we're just going to have a word from our sponsor here. So at number 8 on this list was Seattle's Jake O'Brien, which I know Vince owns.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Buffalo grabbed Radim Murka, defenseman, and Anaheim had Roger McQueen, who we already mentioned. And the redraft goes that Jake O'Brien moves up one spot to number 7. Alexander Zarovsky, the Montreal Canadiens second round pick, moves up 26 spots
The
to
recency
number
bias.
8. And another guy that moves up a couple of spots is Ben Kindle from the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I mean, there's quite a lot to talk about here. So, Junior, I'll start with you in this case. 7, 8, and 9. Jake O'Brien, Zarovsky, and Kindle during this redraft 2025.
The Jake O'Brien, like I really like Jake O'Brien. The one thing I'll say in terms of a caution is that he's a playmaker. He's not a goal scorer. So most leagues they do count goals for more, as we say all the time. So he really needs to be like a point per game player and really for him to really have an impact, which I think he can be. I think he's in a team that really needs him. They really lack some offensive deployment, some offensive spark. I think him and Berkeley Catton could be a dynamic duo down the middle. The only thing is that they're pretty small. So yeah, I really like Jake O'Brien at number 7 there. He didn't move up much, but he's staying status quo. As for Jarovsky, another caution I will do because he is looking great. He looks like he's putting up a lot of numbers. But there's a lot of people comparing him to Ivan Demidov, and there's reports out there now coming out saying like, don't start comparing the two. These are two very totally different players, and Jurovsky is even though his stats are good, does not. They don't expect him to be anywhere close to the caliber of a Demidov. So. Those are the two things I wanted to say in terms of they're very good prospects. I like the way they're ranked. I like where they're heading, but I do want to throw a little bit of caution to the wind.
Yeah, like Jake O'Brien, like Junior was saying, he is a playmaker, and the one who's benefiting this year is Marique Vanacker, who got drafted by Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, last year, and he's at 34 goals, and Jake O'Brien's at 41. So I think this might be that centerman that Seattle is looking for. From Beniers to right, he might be the one that actually has the most potential out of those three, or the greater potential out of those three.
Vince, I
Um,
just want to interrupt you because I said he was small, but he's actually 6'2", so he's not that
no,
small.
Jacob right now is not small. And Jurowski, look, he was a second round pick from the Montreal Canadiens. He's not playing in the the KHL minor league, like the affiliate of the KHL, which is the AHL here. He's playing in the KHL, has 35 points in 41 games. At just 18 years old, he's breaking all kinds of records, but I still think we need to temper our expectations over here. He was second round pick. He might be a late bloomer. Late bloomer. He's 18, but a late bloomer. So I mean, it's right now he looks like he can fit in Montreal's top 6 for
Yeah,
sure. It's
so
just we still have to give it a bit more time. I don't think Montreal's going to go out there to Russia and try to get him to come overseas right now.
yeah, so according to Pronman, Zarovsky's rise is really because he's playing with adults in the KHL and still producing the same way that he was while he was in the junior leagues. His skill levels stood out as a junior, uh, but has seamlessly transitioned into pro hockey, and he looks like a premium prospect that's more like a top 6 player in the NHL rather than a second round pick that he was 6 months ago. So interesting words there from Pronman. You guys should read his article. It's actually pretty decent, and it's not that long actually. Um, I'll touch on Kindle because neither of you actually talked about him at all. One of the big, according to Pronman, he's defied the odds. He was the number 11 pick, jumped into the NHL right away, and became an immediate contributor for Pittsburgh, despite concerns about his size not being truly elite and not being a truly elite skater. Um, he has great skill, hockey sense, and motor has allowed him to translate his game instantly to the NHL, competes hard on every shift, and processes the game faster than his opponents. He projects as a quality top six forward who drives play and makes his teammates better. So, again, pretty high praise for Kindle, who had gone to Pittsburgh as the 11th pick, and Pronman has him now at 9, moving up 2 spots. So before we move on to 10 to 16, I'm just going to do a quick.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait, order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Word from our sponsor here. It is DraftKings. And the jaw-dropping moments that make hockey hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me state. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-9777-7 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2025 NHL. All rights reserved. All right, guys. I need a glass of water after that. Okay. Moving along to the redraft again. We have spoken about our top 9 redrafts, right? I did the top 9 here.
I don't know. You're hosting it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Number 10 was Roger McQueen to Anaheim in the real life. Ben Kindle to Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia had Jack Nesbitt. In the redraft, we have Joshua Ravensbergen, goaltender, moving up 20 spots here. Anton Frandel down 8 spots from 3 to 11. And Brady Martin down 7 spots from 4 actually, to 12. Guys, what can we talk about with Ravensbergen, Frandel, and Martin? We've already spoken a bit about Frandel. What about the other 2 guys? Vince, let's start with you. I know you're still on mute, but just giving you a heads up.
Well, I think Ravensburger is the biggest surprise. I mean, He jumped up 20 spots. It wasn't supposed to be a draft that had any concrete elite goaltending. But I mean, to be a top 10 goalie means you're almost a for sure thing in the NHL, like a number one goalie in the NHL. And in the WHL this year, I mean, his stats are decent. 9 wins, 9 losses. And sorry, 19 wins, 9 losses. Save percentage 0.916, which is really good, and goals against of 2.67. He's a 6'5" goalie, so he's still developing in his body, I'm guessing, 195. Taller goalies always take a little more time to get coordinated and stuff like that. But I mean, for him to be classified as number 10, I think it's great news for San Jose. Even though they have Askarov, it's still great news for Brady Martin. I think, like Junior said, I think he could be a solid NHLer. Just he might not put up all the points and stuff like that, but he does all the little things very good, and that will help Nashville in the long run.
The thing with Brady Martin, what's great about him is that he's always going to be that guy that gets an opportunity on the top line as the complement, right? Like he did in the juniors with Gavin McKenna. He was on that line with Gavin McKenna and Michael Hage. He was the sandpaper guy, but he was benefiting. He was getting points. He was putting up the points. So, um, yeah, so that's where he comes into play in terms of an offensive standpoint. And then on top of that, there's all the peripherals. And like Vince said, for Ravensburg, and did he play a game with Team Canada or he didn't get one in?
No, he didn't get one in.
He didn't get one. I would have loved to see what he could do, especially the fact that they were struggling with their goaltending. But he's probably him and Ivanovich from Nashville.
Ivankovic.
Is it Nashville or Columbus who drafted him? Anyways, they're probably going to be the goalies next year. So it's going to be an interesting battle to see who gets that spot. But like Vince said, they weren't expected to be that high, so I'm still not convinced yet on the status of the upside of this goalie.
Yeah, I say Brady Martin is really a player that is like a Sam Bennett. He was compared to Sam Bennett during our draft coverage, and he basically is not going to put up the crazy points that a top 10 pick normally would in the NHL. Uh, but he's going to be that leader. He's going to be that sandpaper guy. He's going to be that guy that Nashville really needs down the middle. And I think that's why they picked him so high. Less fantasy related, obviously, more real team building related. And that's probably why he went so high in the real NHL draft. Ravensburgen, according to the message here from Pronman, he's tracking to be a starting NHL goaltender after an up and down draft season. 6'5", like Vince already mentioned, and he's excellent. And he's been a difference maker in games in the WHL for Prince George. So, guys, don't forget WHL is one of the highest scoring leagues. That's a junior league in Canada, and this guy has some great numbers for this league. So I'm absolutely looking forward to Ravensburgen in the World Junior Championship next year. I think you're right, Junior. I think he should be the starter by then. There's 4 guys left, guys, and I think all 4 of these guys are basically not the guys that actually went. So let's just run through the real NHL here. Detroit had picked Gardner Bear, Columbus Jackson Smith, Vancouver Braden Coots, who actually had some good preseason action, Islanders Victor Eklund. In Pronman's redraft, he has Victor Eklund up to 13, so that's 3 spots improvement there. Caleb Desnoyers dropping 10 points down to number 14. Cole Reshney moving up 3 spots to number 15. I tried prying him off of Vince, but he didn't bite. And Radim Murka down 7 spots to number 16. So, guys, what anybody stick out to you here? I know it's later on in the draft, but anybody stick out to you for the bottom 4 guys here?
Well, I like Victor Eklund. With Sweden at the World Championships, he got 8 points in 7 games. Um, I just want to see here with matching Anton Frandel's 8 points. So he didn't have the pedigree Anton Frandel had, but still managed to stand out. And he also plays with him with I'm gonna say this wrong. Djurgårdens in Sweden. Did I say that right? So
Actually,
Anton
that's
Sure.
very well
Frandel.
said.
Thank you.
Very well said.
Eklund and Frandel do play together in Sweden too, and Frandel has 19 points and Eklund has 13. It's still a nice showing for a young guy to play in a men's league, and especially someone with not the pedigree of a Frandel. Frandel has 13 goals, by the way, in that league, but only 6 assists. Eklund is more of a playmaker type, 1 goal and 12 assists. So I really like Victor Eklund. I think the transition from the Swedish Elite League to when he makes the NHL should be a seamless one, I think.
Vince, any thoughts?
I think that Dinwaye is a bit worrisome that he dropped 10 points, 10 positions. I mean, even if you look at his stats in the queue, right now he's 33 points in 24 games, which you guys might think people might look and say, oh, look, it's more than a point per game player. But last year he had 84 points in 56 games. So, and the Q isn't, I mean, we can maybe say the Q is one of the weakest leagues in the CHL right now, in the Canadian Hockey League. So he's a bit worrisome that Utah picked him fourth overall. But once again, he's young, he's 6'2". I think he has to put a bit of weight on. He's only 173. So I think Utah wanted to get a bigger body that can do the dirty work in the corners, and they're hoping he could be the guy. But it's a bit worrisome that for Pronman he dropped 10 spots.
Yeah, I really like Cole Reshney here, moving up. Um, he was quite impressive, I think, in the World Juniors. He looked like he belonged. He looked like he was creating plays. I really enjoyed that. Dinwaye scares me because, like you said, Vince, QMJHL prospects, very hard to judge them. And I've seen a lot of these guys going high who kind of bust out, right? Like
Hmm.
you could talk about a Lafreniere, who I traded for recently, hoping that he turns it around or gets traded supposedly. I don't know what's going on with New York, but we didn't talk about it last episode, right? But they're saying that they're
Yeah, we
actually
did.
instead of building around him, though, they might actually trade him away.
Yeah,
Uh,
him and Cooley, him and not Cooley.
yeah,
What's his name? Um,
Fox?
no, no,
Miller, JT Miller.
Oh,
no.
Cooley, like
CU, yeah,
CUYLE. Yeah,
exactly. I don't
yeah.
know if it was a different, if we pronounce it differently, but apparently they want to trade those young guys to bring in veterans to go with JT Miller as the manager at Fox, which I don't understand, but
I
it's,
don't get it either. I don't get it. But
yeah,
I mean, it's Drury, so what are you gonna do?
yeah, exactly.
Cole Reshney, I think, actually is showing that he belongs in that top 15. So
Yeah,
I'm happy. Like I feel the 2025 draft might be a little bit underrated in a couple of years. You're going to see that a lot of these players are going to end up being much better than we see them right now. Um, Vince, I believe you have some messages for our fans.
well, I just want to say about Murtka. Buffalo picked him ninth overall last year. He's a defenseman. He's having an okay season. 20 points in 19 games in the WWE, the WHL. But I feel with this pick, Buffalo can be patient with this pick because they have the young defensemen already right now going in Powers, in Byram, in Dahlin. So they can wait and see if he develops into what they're expecting their ninth overall pick to be, like a really two pairing defenseman. So that it'll be an interesting status to see how he develops and if he can hit that potential to be a first or second pairing defenseman. Hmm. Hey Nick.
Hey, Vince.
Whoa, 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 we don't hear you properly.
Oh, we don't hear you anymore.
Must be a bad joke.
Oh, do you hear me?
Maybe that is the joke.
Okay, go.
You hear me now? Okay. So
Yeah.
did anybody tell you that when you got married, that marriage is like a walk in the park?
What
Yeah,
kind of park
you-
is this?
You see, that's the thing. It's Jurassic Park. That's what
Yeah, I
marriage
can see
is.
that. I can see that.
Who's the T-Rex?
Oh.
Okay, don't say it.
It's
Nick,
like get
if
me
you
in
want-
trouble.
Nick, if you don't want to sleep on the couch, keep your mouth shut.
Like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, she doesn't listen to this anyways.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good end of the week, boys and girls.
2 weeks left till the Olympics.
Can't wait. It's gonna be
Another
fun.
draft,
best on best.
baby. Another
Best on
draft.
best. Another draft. Yes. Peace.
All right, guys, so check this out. Have you ever heard of Goldbelly? Okay, so it's this amazing site where you can order the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the country, and they will ship it straight to your door. That's right, these guys will ship you Philly cheesesteaks from Jim's or Pat's in Philly, buffalo wings from the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, and even Kansas City's most legendary barbecue. So if you're looking to host an epic Super Bowl party, go to goldbelly.com and get free shipping and 20% off your first order with promo code GAMEDAY.